So welcome, we're here for the latest William Hill FWA podcast from the World Cup in Russia. I'm with Steve Bates of The People. We've been watching England in that magnificent shootout win. We finally got that monkey off our back, Steve.
Yep.
England are now second favourites, just behind Brazil, joint second favourites with France at 7-2 to win the World Cup. Yep. How does that feel?
It feels great, but I think it's justifiable, to be honest with you. I mean, from what I've seen of England in this tournament, they're growing into the tournament. They seem to be maturing as a football team at a tournament, and that's always a great sign. When a team gets better in a tournament, you don't want to start off like a house on fire and then you can't maintain that kind of momentum. But England are doing it the right way. They're building gradually. They're building something special, I feel. And the win, of course, against Colombia makes them, in my eyes, justifiable second favourites behind Brazil.
And of course, we were sitting here. We did the first one of the first podcasts. For
we
William
did
Hill.
in Rapino. Yeah.
3 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
England hadn't played a game, and our expectations probably weren't that we're now second favourites and we could go all the way, were they?
Absolutely not. You know, obviously. After what happened in Brazil in 2014, I think the first aim was to make sure we secured our passage out of the group. Yeah. Obviously, we did that quite comfortably with those first two opening wins against Tunisia and Panama. But from then, I think England really have gained confidence from that. I don't think the Belgium defeat really damaged the team in any way in terms of morale. I know that some of the newspapers were sort of reflecting on that game and thinking maybe it killed momentum, you know, making so many changes. But I think obviously Gareth Southgate and his coaches had really thought that through properly. And I think we saw the evidence of that in Colombia, where they were very fresh. And my word, didn't they need to be fresh?
Absolutely needed it.
You know, they needed that. That make that game went to 120 minutes plus penalties. Yeah. Mentally tiring, physically draining. A real pitch battle with a Colombian team who were not giving an inch of ground, who were displaying all the dirty tricks that we associate from South American teams, targeting England players. In my view, disgracefully targeting the referee and crowding him with kind of boorish behaviour at kind of incidents. But I think England, they managed themselves brilliantly on the night. They coped with everything that was thrown at them, and they were a credit to themselves and the manager.
Now, Sweden to come, that's a completely different sort of game, isn't it? We saw them beat Switzerland, sort of ground it out a bit. They're quite defensive, quite dour. 4-4-2 in English style. It could suit England that. They're long shots for the tournament now. England overwhelming favourites for that game. And the odds don't reflect Sweden's chances of getting past England or winning the tournament.
No.
So you sort of expect to win that, but it is a World Cup of surprises.
Yeah, 22 to 1, aren't
they?
Sweden
so
now rank outsiders. But, you know, I wouldn't let that mask the fact that they are in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. They've not got there by accident. Clearly, Jan Andersson has got a very, very strong team there with a great spirit and a good work ethic. You know, we've seen already had some very good results on the way to this quarterfinal. They will be what the Swedes are. They'll be committed, they'll be energetic, they will run all day for that shirt, and England won't find it an easy game. I think it'll be a different game to the Colombian game, and I'm absolutely certain that Sweden won't resort to the kind of tactics that the dark arts that Colombia did, but nonetheless they will present a formidable opposition. We've played Sweden, haven't we, many times before in tournaments, and they always give everything. They're a proud nation. And they will feel, possibly, that they've got as good a chance against England as maybe some other teams left in the tournament, because the two teams know each other so well. We're both European teams who the style of play is laid down and set down. Look, they no longer have a big star like Zlatan Ibrahimovic once was for them, but they've still got very good players who we all know. Emil Forsberg, obviously, from Leipzig's a good player. He's stepped up. Grandquist, their captain's a good player. Obviously, Victor Lindelof at Manchester United. So they're not really a star-packed team, but they're the sum of their parts. They're going to be a very, very difficult and well-organised team. But I think England have got all the weapons at their disposal now to beat anybody, not just Sweden. You know, we can create, and we also can dig in. We saw that, didn't we, last night against Colombia? We saw how wonderfully resilient that team were, and although we're a young team, they were superbly kind of, the mentality was superb. There was a bloody mindedness, a determination. We are not going to lose this game.
Yeah.
And even though they had that setback on 90 minutes, which might have done for lesser teams with a more fragile mentality, England stepped up brilliantly.
Yeah, I mean, Kieran Trippier, when he took that penalty, that was probably one of those moments when you think, he's nerveless, wasn't he?
Absolutely. I thought all England's penalty takers were confident stepping up. Now, I include Jordan Henderson in that. OK, the keeper made a save. Out of 5 penalties, you can maybe expect the keeper to save 1. Unfortunately for Henderson, it was his. But the other guys didn't let that detract from the main aim, which was to focus on their own individual penalties. I thought Rashford's penalty was fantastic for a 20-year-old boy to step up into that cauldron of passion, emotion, and the atmosphere there with Colombian fans filling the stadium and willing that penalty to be saved or missed. I thought that was incredible strong character from Rashford to do that, which bodes well for the future. As you mentioned, Trippier stepped forward as well with a confident penalty. And then, of course, Eric Dyer stepped up, and lifted that jinx, that burden, call it what you want, of only one win in 7 attempts before last night at penalty shootouts. But with that penalty dispatched brilliantly, I thought, very cool, very calm. He's kind of ended all the history, all the talk, ended the conversation about penalty shootouts and England's failure at them.
And of course, the one we always bank on is Harry. Six goals now. He's only got 4 to catch Gary Lineker, whose all-time World Cup record is 10 for England. And again, reflected in the odds here, Harry overwhelming favourite now for the Golden Boot. He's got 6 already. He's got at least 1 more game to come. Yeah, good odds.
Odds of 4 to 11 for Harry to win the Golden Boot. Yeah, I think he can do that. He's certainly a man in form. He's a man who wants that. Obviously, he doesn't want that at the expense of England. Yeah, not going the distance in this tournament, but I don't see any reason why the two can't go hand in hand, because I think if they do, then I'm confident that England will probably get to the final. Who knows what will happen then? Obviously, we don't know who we would play at that point, but I certainly think the way the draw is opened up now with potential games, I think we can look that little bit further now and think, right, okay, we've nobody to fear in this. Okay, if you happen to play a Brazil or a France in the final, then obviously that's going to be a heck of a tough game. Yeah. But
you just love to get there, wouldn't you? Get to the final.
Just get there, and as we've seen in this World Cup, above many others, so many shock results. Germany going out, Spain going out, Argentina, Portugal. This could really be England's time, and people might say, well, maybe we're not quite ready. Let's just seize that moment. I think there's every chance that we can reach the final, and I'm sure the nation wants us to do that.
But it's a big weekend of semi-final, quarter-final action. Yeah. Brazil, France, Croatia, Russia in there, all in the mix. England, Sweden, the big one. Sure. For our point of view. Yes. Put your neck on the line. What do you think?
I'm certainly looking forward to watching the Brazil-Belgium game if I get a chance. I think that's on the same day as England.
Could be
England-Sweden. So not sure we'll be in a position to watch all that properly, but that is, for me, that is the key game in all of those, because if Belgium managed to upset Brazil and in a one-off and with the quality that they've got in their team, I wouldn't write Belgium off at all. France were looking very strong, weren't they? But again, Uruguay, I've seen Uruguay a couple of times in this tournament.
Difficult to beat.
They are such a well-organised team. They've got warriors like Godin in the defence. They are a nation that don't lie down. Suarez up top, Cavani. So they're not going to be any pushovers for France, even though France obviously knocked out Argentina. But again, can Russia keep going? Yeah.
Massive.
It's always fantastic when the host nation does well, and they've been probably the surprise package. Yeah. Because I think many people didn't expect them to get from the group, and they have done. So yeah, so many good quarter-finals, and thankfully England are one of them.
And as I say, like to put a score on that?
England? I think England will win.
In 90 minutes?
In 90 minutes. I think we will win. I think it will be tough, but we will win. I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0, okay. I'll keep it tighter than that. 2-1 from me, but what do I know? Anyway, Steve, been great speaking to you here.
Pleasure.
Look forward to seeing you again in Samara.
Hopefully.
And keep coming back for the William Hill FWA podcast.